New VR games. Well, that's right. Today we're going to be talking about a bunch of brand new VR games that have just been announced to be coming out across 2025. From brand new IPs all the way through to games getting ported into VR for the very first time, there is something on this list for everybody. But before we dive into that, I want to thank today's channel sponsor, Deep Cuts. Deep Cuts is the most over-the-top VR action game where everything is a weapon, and you are the star of the show. Use cinematic powers, slow-mo, super punches, and more to pull off insane stunts that are straight out of an action movie. Spawn weapons, explosives, and props on demand and adapt and improvise to create chaos your way. Extreme physics-based combat means if you can grab it, you can use it. Punch, throw, shoot, do whatever you want. There's no rules. And if you think all of that sounds exciting, well, it is, and you can go play it as of right now. There are links in the description and the pinned comment to go download and play Deep Cuts today. Massive thank you to them again for sponsoring today's video, and now let's dive into our very first game on the list. First up on the list, we have Postal 2. Now this is a game that probably needs no introduction if you're over 35. If you're under 35, well, this is a old game where you was pretty dang violent the entire way through it. This is a cult classic that's finally going to make its way into VR on the Quest, PSVR 2 and PCVR. Expect completely ridiculous, over-the-top chaos and to be fully immersed, where the question really remains in this just how unhinged you can actually get from peeing on someone to blowing them up. Well, from mayhem to management, we're now talking about surviving Mars. This is also getting the port treatment, bringing it over into virtual reality. This is a beloved city builder and strategy game that is now going to be available to play on the Quest and Steam VR later this year, bringing in an entirely new level of immersion and colony management. Imagine standing on the surface of the Red Planet overseeing, and if it's done right, it can be one of the best strategy experiences that you can play. Well, if you're a horror fan, this one's going to be for you. Out of Sight. This is another game that is going to be brought over into the virtual reality world so that you can experience it yourself. This is an upcoming PCVR horror game that is keeping its details slightly under wraps, but from what we've seen it looks bloody terrifying and expects an eerie atmosphere, psychological horror and plenty of nightmare fuel. If you're brave enough, keep an eye out for this one. It looks super intriguing and I'm personally kind of interested by this one, even though I'm a bit of a, scaredy cat when it comes to horror. Well, if horror's not your thing, well then how about some fast-paced action, and that is RoboQuest VR. RoboQuest VR is yet another port of a popular shooter, bringing its intense combat and co-op gameplay and, well, pretty slick movement to VR. This is coming to Quest, PSVR 2 and PCVR. If they nail the mechanics, this could be a really fun game, but it really comes down to whether this is really fun in VR. Next, we're talking about Forefront VR. This is actually a game I am stupidly looking forward to. This is coming from Triangle Factory, so the people that made Breaches, and I freaking love Breaches, so the fact that they're bringing a brand new game out gets me friggin' hyped. This is going to be a tactical VR shooter that just keeps getting better. This is aiming to take on things and take it to the entire next level. This is large scale multiplayer FPS featuring 32 player battles, vehicles, immersive tactical combat. Basically think Battlefield but in virtual reality. You can freaking do so many cool things from this trailer. I'm really excited for this. Now, I am a Battlefield fan, so the idea of having that translate into virtual reality is going to be absolutely bloody insane. Imagine squirrel suiting your way across the friggin' world, all the way into a tank, take over that tank, blow up a bunch of people, get out of that, climb up the side of a building, snipe someone in the face. It's just, this one for me is probably the highlight of this whole show, and I am very, very much looking forward to this. Next up, if you were a fan of Windlands, well, they've got a brand new IP dropping, and I am really interested in this one. This is called Titan Isles. Titan Isles is bringing that high-flying grappling action to co-op gameplay. You and your friends can take down massive bosses and what looks like a mad, chaotic action adventure. If you like Windlands, this is definitely one to keep on your watch list, so keep an eye out for this as we get more information as time goes on. Honestly, I'm very excited about this one myself. Next up, we have Hitman World of Assassination, and is this finally going to be the time for this game to be good? Well, we'll only find out in time. I will say, in the gameplay trailer that they've released for this, you can finally start to see some of those mechanics taken in place. Yeah, there's still a ton of button pushes, and I'm still a little bit edgy to whether this is going to be great or not. It does look way more fluid than we've ever seen Hitman before, so fingers crossed this is actually going to be good. Next up, we have Stay Forever Home, and this is a perfect blend between mixed reality and virtual reality. We're starting to see this become more of a trend with games, and I'm actually kind of for it. This is a game where it lets you take your companion on an adventure in VR, then interact with them directly in your real space using the power of mixed reality. I really feel like this is quite an interesting one, especially for mental health, because having a pet has already been proven to help you with stuff like that. So maybe if you can't have a pet where you live, this could be a good alternative and just be something nice to just do a little bit of a getaway and relax your mind for a little bit. I think it's going to be kind of unique. I'm very interested to see how this one turns out. Next up, we have Exoshock. Now, this is a game, again, we don't know a busting amount, and I wasn't even told a busting amount about this game, so I'm kind of intrigued to learn a little bit more about it. From what we do know, this is shaping up to be a new VR shooter, coming to the Quest and PCVR, and hopefully it's worth the mysterious hype. I mean, they just haven't told me a lot about this game. I'm kind of intrigued though. Next up, we have Gorn 2. Now, as you guys know, I've already had a go in playing Gorn 2 as they let me play like an early demo of the game. So far, it's turning out to be a really solid experience. There's going to be more weapons, more traps, more ridiculous violence, and it's everything you loved in the first game, but bigger and bloodier. So if you like a little bit of violence, then I think this one's going to be for you. You know, gladiator combat, destroying people, brains, blood. Next up, horror just hits different in VR, as we've spoken about already in this video, but let's hit off with a little bit more of that with Slender: The Arrival, making its way to Quest, PSVR 2 and PCVR. If you thought Slender Man was terrifying before, well, just you wait until you meet him in virtual reality. Probably gonna poop your pants, I know I will. Good luck sleeping after playing this one. Next up, we have Zix, I think that's how you say it at least, and this is a brand new roguelike with deep combat and a procedural world generation. The coolest part is you get to remix your runs and alter reality as you uncover different mysteries. Sounds like a wild concept, and I can't wait to see how this one actually plays out. Next up, we have Prison Boss Prohibition. That is a ridiculously hard word to say. Welcome to the prison. Well, in this one, you are going to be running an illegal business in New York City in this quirky crime-filled VR experience. Not only that, but if you're going to be playing this on Quest, you're going to be able to do this in mixed reality and in co-location, even if you're not in the same room, which I think is going to be pretty dope to see this in mixed reality, and why not at the end of the day? Seems like a bit of a fun way to do it. Next up, we have Memoriam. Now, this is a game I actually tried out at Gamescom late last year, and oh my goodness, this is already was shaping up to be a good game. It looks like it's had a ton of polish given it to it now, and it's looking even better. Memoriam takes place in a colony spaceship where everything has gone horrifically wrong. As a human and the last hope, you'll need to unveil the mysteries of the ship surviving against unknown horrors. This could be such an atmospheric experience, and I know it was when I tried it, so I'm looking forward to this finally dropping this year. Next up, from the creators of The Room, we have Ghost Town. Ghost Town lets you step into the haunted streets of London, in which has turned into a bit of a ghost hunter story. With puzzles, magic, and eerie environments, this is turning out to be one of those seriously potential horror mystery type games with a bit of a room escape type situation going on with it as well. And last but not least, we have Rhys. I believe I'm saying that correctly. This is a dungeon crawler, again not a busting amount known about it right now, but it comes from the creators that made Township Tale. So definitely a good studio behind this. This is going to be a dungeon crawler that's going to be procedural. Get in there, get your loot, and try and extract if you can. I'm pretty excited to see if this one can work out well. If they could get it to a level where it's sort of, you know, Dungeons of Eternity level of quality, but with like a really, really solid sort of like dungeon crawler aspect to this as well, I feel like this could be an absolute banger. But early days right now, it looks like they're only looking for sort of beta testers and stuff. So I don't know. We'll find out what this turns into later this year. Other than that, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, smash the crap out of that like button, subscribe if you are new. It really does help support the channel, and these videos get seen more by more people, and really it's just a nice thing to do. Take 2 seconds, poke that button. Other than that, I'll catch you in the next video. Peace out, bye.